And the EU has asked our permission to take that money and give it to Ukraine so they can knock Russia in the next week and let's get this war over. That's a good idea, don't you think?
Well, I think anything that can be done to stop that war is a good idea, sir.
Would you support giving that $225 billion, no taxpayer money in America, to Ukraine?
Well, again, sir, that's outside my purview as a service chief.
Outside my purview. You've just watched the most pivotal exchange, the most unforgiving reality brought to light in Washington this week. We saw a four-star general, the Commandant of the U.S. Marine Corps, a leader commanding the globe's foremost military force, stammering and sidestepping a remarkably straightforward question: why aren't we using the adversary's own funds to finance this conflict, rather than squeezing American taxpayers? Welcome back, everyone. In what became the most explosive committee hearing in recent days, Senator John Kennedy unleashed an unrelenting line of questioning squarely at General Eric M. Smith. Skipping the usual political theater and the tedious opening statements, Kennedy hijacked the room right at 11 a.m., tossing this top-ranking general into a grueling reality check. Today, we are breaking down every rhetorical maneuver within this standoff. We'll examine how Kennedy backed General Smith into conceding the sheer force of the Ukrainian armed forces, only to drop a $300 billion political anvil that Washington's executive branch is desperately trying to sweep under the rug. If you truly want to grasp how America's power structures operate behind a veil of diplomatic phrasing, this is the deep dive you absolutely need to watch. To successfully trap General Smith in that final moment, Kennedy first needed to lay down an indisputable foundation. His goal was to make the Marine Corps chief publicly confirm the tactical effectiveness of Ukraine's forces on the battlefield. Pay attention to this full, continuous lead-up where Kennedy systematically tears down the original strategic assumptions of this conflict.
Senator Kennedy.
Forgive me, Mr. Chairman, for interrupting. And I say this with respect for you and these three gentlemen. But as you know, we've got a very important meeting at 11 o'clock. We're going to have to leave. I would respectfully ask if we could limit the opening remarks so we could get to ask a few questions.
Senator Kennedy, Senator Coons has been perfectly all right with taking two on our side first, and then they get two. So we'll be able to get to both of you.
I know, but my point is we're going to start at 11 o'clock. I've got to be there, and these gentlemen have some wonderful prepared statements, but I can read faster than they can talk. And I was hoping if they could give us the Cliff's Notes version, we might have enough time to ask a question.
Or go ahead and ask the question.
Do you mind?
No.
You mind, gentlemen?
Sir, not at all.
All right. I'll try to be brief. Mr. Secretary, thank you for being here. We need more ships. We're going to give you money to build more ships. You need to get those ships built. You need to build as many of them as you can in Louisiana, but let's get them built. General, is Russia our friend?
Sir, they're not.
Between Ukraine and Russia, who do we want to win that war?
Well, we prefer there not be a war, but obviously...
Well, but there is. Who do we want to win?
Obviously, we want Ukraine to stand independently and not be consumed by Russia.
Okay. Now, when Putin went into Ukraine, he thought he was going to roll in and take it over in 2 days like thunder on a summer night, didn't he?
I believe he did.
But the Ukrainian people have fought back, haven't they?
Yes, sir. They have fought back.
And they now have some of the most sophisticated drone technology in the history of the world, don't they?
Sir, they do. They're doing very well with drones.
And they're giving, with the limited resources they have, they're giving Russia a curb stomping, aren't they?
I would say they are. In
fact, they have knocked out, with their limited resources, 40% of Russia's export ability of their oil. Since January, using their drones and limited cruise missiles, they have hit oil and gas facilities within Russia over 100 times. Not on the border, within Russia, right?
Yes, sir.
And Putin was so scared, he almost had to cancel their military parade. Didn't he?
Well, I'm not sure of that, sir, but I will take your word for that, sir.
Okay. All right?
Let's hold on for a second. Are you catching the massive hypocrisy unfolding here? General Smith just openly applauded Ukraine for obliterating 40% of their opponents' oil export ability and carrying out over 100 strikes deep inside Russian territory. Yet, there's a poorly kept secret that global media outlets uncovered months ago. Washington's civilian leadership was quietly applying pressure, urging Kyiv to cease striking these exact oil facilities. The reason? They are terrified of global energy costs surging, which would spike inflation just ahead of the US elections. Kennedy is brilliantly calculating here. He compelled General Smith to provide an unfiltered military evaluation that acts as a direct slap to the White House's foreign policy agenda. The general validated it. On a tactical level, targeting the economic heart is highly effective. When soldiers are allowed to do what they are trained to do, they know how to close out a fight. This confirmation from General Smith served as the ultimate snare. The minute the Commandant conceded that crippling the opponent's economy is the path to victory, Kennedy pivoted to his ultimate high-stakes question: so why are everyday American taxpayers breaking their backs to cover this massive bill? Now we loop back to the climax we showed at the start of this video. American citizens are furious that tens of billions of their hard-earned tax dollars are being funneled into a conflict an ocean away. Kennedy presents an offer that makes perfect sense. Watch this comprehensive extended exchange where Kennedy systematically constructs a rhetorical box that the general simply cannot climb out of.
Well, how much money? Now, let me just lead you. The world has $300 billion of frozen Russian assets in escrow, don't we?
I don't know, sir.
I do. It's $300 billion. And 2/3 of that, about $225 billion, is sitting in Europe, isn't it?
Again, sir, I'm not sure of that.
Well, I am. And I'm surprised, no disrespect, that you don't know. And Europe has asked our permission to take that $200 to $225 billion. Well, I mean, strike that. That $225 billion, humor me, that's sitting there frozen. Not a single penny is American taxpayer money, is it?
I don't believe it is.
No. It all belongs to Russia, doesn't it?
I believe that is correct.
And the
sir.
EU has asked our permission to take that money and give it to Ukraine so they can knock Russia in the next week and let's get this war over. That's a good idea, don't you think?
Well, I think anything that can be done to stop that war is a good idea, sir.
Would you support giving that $225 billion, no taxpayer money in America, to Ukraine?
Again, sir, that's outside my purview as a service chief.
Are you witnessing the bureaucratic machine's mastery in dodging bullets? Barely a minute prior, General Smith was fluently rattling off the 40% oil statistic and the 100 drone strikes. Yet, the second $300 billion in frozen assets enters the conversation. A highly influential commandant suddenly doesn't know and isn't sure. Kennedy wasted no time calling out his bluff on the spot. I'm surprised you don't know. Because the truth is, any official with a global strategic position has their eyes glued to this massive mountain of money. Approximately $225 billion is parked inside Belgium's Euroclear system. Europe is desperate to utilize it, but they are terrified of the legal risks and financial retaliation unless America acts as a guarantor. Kennedy forged an airtight logical sequence that leaves no room to breathe. Are these American tax dollars? No. Does this money belong to the adversary? Yes. Would leveraging it to end the war be a good thing? Absolutely. Yet, as we saw at the beginning of the video, when pressured to publicly endorse this, General Smith's only defense was that's outside my purview. The military desperately craves that infinite financial resource to conclude this war, but they cannot speak up. The decision to seize assets belongs to the nod of the Treasury Department, the State Department, and the White House. Kennedy posed these questions to reveal a harsh truth to the American public. The people wearing uniforms are forced to fight battles using the taxes of the working class, all while the political elite in Washington remain too cowardly to deal a lethal financial blow to the adversary. This interrogation is far more than just a trending video on the internet. It serves as a panoramic view exposing the paralysis in America's strategy. Kennedy represents the outrage of everyday people working their fingers to the bone to pay taxes. He looks at the situation through a crystal clear, black and white lens. If the adversary's money is sitting right here, let's use their own cash to buy weapons, instead of draining the wealth of families in Louisiana, Texas, or Florida. However, The political system counters him with administrative barriers, purview process, the complexity of international law. General Smith didn't do anything wrong. He is required to remain neutral on financial policy. But by forcing the general to utter the words "outside my purview," Kennedy successfully unmasked the biggest loophole of all. America lacks an absolute unity between its military might and its economic power. Half the machine wants to secure victory on the battlefield, while the other half fears financial market volatility. And the steep price for that hesitation is being billed directly to your tax dollars. Senator Kennedy concluded his questioning because he has no time for beating around the bush. He wants practical answers to the problems draining the American economy. Capitol Hill has no shortage of sleep-inducing hearings. But when you know how to ask the right questions, you tear the mask off the entire system. That is why this showdown between Kennedy and General Smith is worth every single second. If you've stuck around until the final minutes of this video, you are exactly the kind of audience this channel is built for. People who want to truly understand the nature of the power game and refuse to be easily led astray by the mainstream media. Please hit the like button. It genuinely helps the algorithm spread this truth. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you think of General Smith's outside my purview defense. And most importantly, do you agree with seizing that $300 billion? Don't forget to hit subscribe and ring the bell icon. America is entering the most brutal phase of its political arena, and I will be right here continuing to decode earth-shattering hearings like this one with you. Thank you for staying with me throughout the video. See you next time.